Thank you, Dr. Mario and Ms. Anu for the very enlightening presentation. I'm glad that I'm talking after Gilbert because I used to be president of SPCorp. The problem with guarantee is a problem of scale. We are members of this Association of Guarantee Corporations all over Asia. In Japan, 1 out of every 3 SME loans have some kind of a guarantee because they have a very comprehensive and systematic framework in Japan where all prefectures have a guarantee corporation and there is a reinsurance system in the central government that covers that guarantee. So I think it's a matter of scale. As mentioned by Ambassador Tamboti earlier on, I was in SB Corporation for more than 11 years. We never received a single centavo from national government. So we never really had the funds to make available that guarantee to the SMEs, and therefore we have to make do with our own. We have to borrow from ADB and other multilaterals just to be able to sustain the operation. So I think what's missing in the guarantee business is the question of scale. We have to study how our Asian neighbors are doing their guarantee. Because, for example, I remember that in Thailand, they really upscaled the guarantee corporation such that many SMEs now are getting loans because of the availability of the guarantee. SB Corp, how can a BDO or a Metro Bank enroll an account for guarantee by SB Corp when they know that SB Corp has a capitalization of only 2 billion pesos? So, really, it's a question of scale. I'd like also to comment on the issue of this archaic mandatory allocation. I was in SB Corp, we were also the advocate for mandatory allocation. The problem with the mandatory allocation though is that I think, in my perspective is that we have not really given it a chance to grow. Why? Because the penalty is so small. The penalty is just probably the salary of a senior person in the bank. And for the banks, it's easier for them to pay penalty than to abide by the requirements of the law. The question that's bothering me is that I just came from a conference outside of the country, and in India, they still have this priority sector allocation for certain agriculture, SMEs, etc., etc. And I think it's working. It appears to be working there. Why is it not working here? I don't know. But the fact that they have been doing it for so long and they continue to do it, although they have, I think, reduced the scale, is an indication that given the right ingredients, there's still a possibility. But I agree with the general thinking that it cannot be just negative. There has to be a positive incentive. Depending, you just penalize, you have to give incentives. So I think what we should take a look at is how do we incentivize the banks that are actually lending to small and medium enterprises. I believe that the BSP right now has a program where they are trying to look at how to make how to reach out to the unbanked and the underbanked. And I think that's a good first step. But really the question is, what is the incentive that we will give to the banks to actually lend to SMEs? So, for example, lending without collateral is not disallowed. Except that when the account becomes past due, there are so many requirements that are being imposed, such as the reserve, etc., etc. So I think there has to be some kind of a review of the system, especially for the lending to SMEs. SMEs kasi, sometimes their past due is just technical past due. But many SMEs are actually very viable. And that's why at SB Corp, when I was still at SB Corp, we used to advocate the program of cash flow lending, risk-based lending. And if we can just give incentives for the banks to do this, I think we can move forward. And a final comment. In the US, there is a community reinvestment law. And I think it's also in other jurisdictions, which means that if a bank gets a deposit from a certain area locality, they should also lend to that area. The problem that we see in the Philippines is that banks just use the provinces to generate deposits and the lending do not go back to the countryside. And we need to do more to make the banks more transparent in where they get their In Europe, I know that there is an initiative to do this and to make the banks more transparent on how they do their deposit generation and lending, so that the people themselves can judge based on their fit that I will deposit in this bank because they actually lend to my community. Thank you.